This is Mustang Mike, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the WrestleGamer, Double B Billy Bujo. This is going to be our review of TNA's Slammiversary pay-per-view from last night. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the panel for this review. Ladies and gentlemen, first off, he is the incomparable Lance Moss from YouTube.com/LanceMossTV. Lance, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Anybody else notice that there was a Chris Benoit sighting in the crowd last night?
Yeah, so Chris Benoit was over 300 pounds. But,
well, we hadn't seen him since, 08? He has time to put on that weight.
And someone who believed it was Chris Benoit, ladies and gentlemen, James from the Big Easy. James, how you doing?
You know, I'd rather watch Payback from last year than watch Slammiversary last night.
Damn.
Dang, dude. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joseph Knight, he's here with us on the review. Mr. Knight, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. No, James, I could take it even further back. I would rather watch WrestleMania 1 than last night's pay-per-view.
Damn.
I'll put up something later.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about TNA Slammiversary, opening up with the X Division title match. It was a six-way ladder match. Probably TNA maybe giving a little jab to WWE for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, especially with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But man, it was Sanada, Tigre, Uno, both the Wolves, Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, and Crazy Steve, who pretty much did his best impersonation of Terry Funk with the Whirly Bird with the ladder. But man, the spots they took in that match were just unbelievable. I mean, Tigre, Uno taking a German suplex on a ladder, and then that sick sunset flip powerbomb from Manik to Edwards on the ladder that was propped up like a platform, and that landing was just unbelievably nasty looking. But Sanada manages to climb up and bring down the X Division title right then and there. And Lance, the only thing I'm going to say is, like I said, some of the spots they took in that match were just like, wow.
Yeah, I think it was in the with the call I was in last night with these guys and a few other people. Well, match of the night.
I mean, I've been watching wrestling for about 25 years, and in that time period, I have never seen a double team move quite like the power bomb backstabber we saw out of the Wolves. I forget who took that spot, but I gotta say, ingenious moves, innovative, like I said. But the fact of the matter is that he flew off the top rope to deliver the backstabber in the powerbomb formation. It was indeed very, very indicative of the talent of the Wolves. I'll tell you that right now. Now, they panned to commentary next, and they made a statement, MVP's injured, so they're going to have two qualifying matches, Bobby Lashley and Samoa Joe, and Kenny King and Austin Aries, and the winners will go on to the steel cage match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. So why in the freaking hell did we have to sit through a segment with MVP restating what was already said?
That's for those people at home that obviously were probably still in the toilet throwing up, and they did not want to watch this pay-per-view.
Wow. I can tell
them drinking way too early to prepare themselves for this pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we have. But so we ended up with Lashley and Samoa Joe. Not that bad of a match, but Lashley hitting the spear on Samoa Joe to get the victory and advances to the steel cage match. And at that time, my thinking was they were going to put King over on Austin Aries, and that way it would make it a 2-on-1 handicap match, and either do one or two things. They would either put the title on one of them, and it would just give it to MVP, or they would have Eric Young overcome the odds again. Kind of Daniel Bryan-ish, if you think about it in that form. But up next, if I can talk, we had Magnus, who was accompanied by Brand, taking on Willow with the Monster Abyss. I know I didn't do an Impact review this week. I do apologize about that, guys. But the sudden appearance of Abyss, that was something I thought they were going to do when they first started doing the mask gimmick again with Abyss. James is pairing him with Willow.
Well, really, it kind of intrigued me with the sudden tag team of Willow and Abyss, but it works because the fact is that, remember, Abyss was with Magnus when Magnus was the world champion, and now Willow is fighting not just Magnus, but I keep forgetting his name. What was his name?
Bram.
Bram, thank you. So you need the equalizer. So Abyss has to be that equalizer to counteract Bram.
Well, it wasn't just an equalizer of Abyss. It was also Janice who decided to make an appearance, if you guys remember Janice, and kind of backed off Bram, but in the same time, Willow got distracted, which led to Magnus hitting his version of a backdrop suplex and Uranagi slam, all in the same instance for him to pick up the victory. And Abyss wasn't too happy with that and chased them both out. So that's pretty much how they left that. And then we get the big announcement from Kurt Angle on who's going into the Hall of Fame at Bound for Glory this year, and it's Team 3D. And Mr. Knight, you were talking before this recording started. You want to go ahead and just reiterate and touch on what you were talking about?
Absolutely. This is not a TNA Hall of Fame. This is a former WWE Hall of Fame. You have Sting, the icon of the WCW. You have Kurt Angle, a former WWE star. You have. Now you got Team 3D. It's now a former WWE team. My problem is this is a TNA Hall of Fame. Okay, you want to give your nod to the WWE guys or former WCW guys, do so later on. It's supposed to be a tribute to the talent you had. The AJ Styles, America Most Wanted,
Elix
Skipper. You could go down the line of great, talented guys they did have and let go, and they did not do this. They just decided, well, guess what? We're just going to continue going off and decide we're going to do former WWE people first. I think that's wrong for them to do. What's next? Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Jeff Jarrett, Christian.
Well, Jeff Jarrett, he did start the damn company.
Yeah, I can understand that, but what you going to see next? Booker T, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Christian?
Lord, Karen Jarrett probably next. You never know. But I hate you, Lance.
To me, it just doesn't make sense. It makes sense in a certain way that maybe they want to take a little poke at WWE, but you want to get your talent over. I think they should have brought in even for one night AJ Styles. Give him his kudos and then walk away.
Lance, do you agree with that?
Well, the reason I think they're doing the whole WWE guys, most of the TNA talent that they let go or just straight up left, they either have heat with TNA or TNA has heat with them.
Yeah, you do bring up an interesting point. But another person on the Facebook page suggested AJ Styles, but my response to them was that he's over in Japan right now. I don't think you could. I don't think he would be. He's under contract to them, so I don't think they would let him go. Just for that. But up next, go ahead.
I was going to say another thing with AJ Styles not being in the Hall of Fame is because he still. I think he kind of burned that bridge once he left TNA. Once they let the contract expire. Basically, I don't think they want to mention AJ Styles anymore.
Yeah, it's very possible that could be the other route for it as well. Up next, we have the second qualifying match for the Steel Cage TNA World Heavyweight Championship match. Kenny King and Austin Aries, and this matchup did not disappoint in my opinion. But the finish, man, Austin Aries hitting the brainbuster off the top rope on Kenny King, gets the victory and advances to the Steel Cage match for later on in the evening. But following that is something I definitely got to touch upon. But me being a fan of the wrestling's past, you know, they're in Dallas, Texas. What was Texas really known for around that area? The Sportatorium and World Class Championship Wrestling. So what better venue and what better way to bring in and debut the sons of the legendary Kevin Von Erich? I'm talking about Ross and Marshall Von Erich, than in Dallas, Texas. I mean, to me, Mr. Knight, it makes perfect sense to debut him in that venue for TNA.
Absolutely. It was kudos for them. They were hitting an area that they said, you know what, let's go all out. They brung out Kevin Von Erich, who still looks in good health. You know, I remember seeing him when he started out and seeing the world-class era with the Freebirds and all. Now, you know, it was great to see him. Unfortunately, his sons were not up to par for a pay-per-view. They looked like they were still green. They weren't as fluid. But, again, I give kudos to TNA for they're in Texas. They wanted to go all out and make this show bigger and better than they ever have in any other show they've done. So, good idea bringing in Kevin Von Erich. Again, it was a nice tribute to Kevin Von Erich in that area. I remember the Sportatorium well.
I gotta say, you know, I'm not ashamed to say it that I marked out just a little bit when they were scheduled to take on Jesse and DJ Zima Ion. Apparently, Robbie is probably still running around backstage in fear for his life for the balloons that Crazy Steve put in the butt crack of Robbie.
Can I say something? Him and Brock Tessmacher are on the Amazing Race. That is why he is not there.
What?
Mm-hmm. They are going to be on the next season of Amazing Race. He is basically running away around the world from the clowns.
So that's the gimmick they're doing for him on there? Is he's running away from the clowns? Wow.
No, he just on the he's basically taking a break while he's doing the Amazing Race.
But they were scheduled to take on DJ Zima Ion and Jesse of the Bromance, and I gotta say, you know, I'm not ashamed to say it that I marked out just a little bit when Kevin Von Erich took off his shoes, got in the ring, took out Jesse, and then put the Iron Claw on DJ Zima Ion. I gotta say that brought back a little bit of memories. You know, one of my favorite DVDs I have in my collection is The Triumph and Tragedy of World Class Championship Wrestling, and getting a chance to see Kevin Von Erich do what he did best, you know, back in the day, and then see him doing it again last night. The man has not lost a step. You know, the guy's gotten older, yes, but in my personal opinion, he has not lost a step. And the Von Erichs, you know, Mr. Knight mentioned that, you know, they weren't ready for a pay-per-view. They were not up to snuff. But a lot of people would argue that the entire card was not up to snuff for pay-per-view standards in professional wrestling today, Mr. Knight.
Oh, definitely. You know what they didn't do? They didn't bring out their A players. They didn't bring out a Bobby Roode. They didn't bring out Gunner. They could have done more with this pay-per-view. And if they really wanted to really go all out cheap pops, they should have brought out Terry Funk. They should have brought out Dory Funk. You know, TNA has this thing of they'll get some of it, but then miss the entire thing. You know, and like I said many times, I'm right now I'm rowing away from this TNA Titanic because it's still sinking, and nothing they can do at this moment is going to help them unless they fire Dixie Carter, which I don't see that happening anytime soon. But again, great idea, Kevin Von Erich. Nice to see that his sons are in the business. And yes, seeing him apply that claw on the Iron Mohawk of DJZ was incredible. It looks like it reminded me of like 20-something years ago. He jumping in the ring barefooted, putting the claw on. I have flashbacks of the Freebirds.
So did I. So did I. But up next, we had the Knockouts Championship on the line. Angelina Love defending against Gail Kim. Okay. Why is TNA trying to do another dirty referee, James? Really? Why are they trying to do that with Brian Stifler?
Just don't know. It's more, as you mentioned, this is basically a repeat of Madison Rayne and
Earl Hebner.
Earl Hebner when they had that relationship. But I think this one is more either a paycheck or even maybe a relationship with maybe Velvet Sky or somebody. I just don't know. Because, look at this. I'm going to be honest. We all know TNA Knockouts division is way better than the Divas division in WWE. But this match really disappointed me. Because look at last year. Last year's last knockout standing match was the best knockouts match they had in a long time. This year it disappoints me. This thing is disappointing me, especially with now the storyline. Are they bringing somebody back, or are they gonna have some? I just don't know. I'm just disappointed right now.
You know what, Billy? Me and James discussed this. And even with Lance, that TNA needs a whole cleanup of their division. They need to go out and do a house cleaning and bring in some new. They need to bring in some new talented knockouts from the independents. They need to scout and get women wrestlers.
Like Scarlett Bordeaux, for one.
Absolutely, they need to go. You got Jules Malone, you got Aurora Flame. I mean, you could go down the list of women that are giving 200% for $25 or $50. Okay, and you can't tell me TNA cannot afford to fly these girls in, give them, do a whole. And I know James is not gonna like this. Do a whole new page. Just like an unknown knockout comes out and wins the title out of a surprise.
And this is what everybody's going to be complaining. It's like, oh, you know, TNA's copying WWE again with this new diva coming in, winning the title on her debut. I just don't see. I think TNA is too smart to do something like that for the knockouts. They could do for everything else, but not for the knockouts.
You mean TNA, the Dollar General version of WWE?
Well, talking about something they probably went to Dollar General and get all the stuff for, it's the Texas Death Match from Bully Ray and EC3. Man, you want to talk about 6 spots in this match? I mean, really? I mean, they did the 1%er on the boards. They exposed the ring, and EC3 did the 1%er on boards. They had EC3 take the Bubba Cutter while he was flying off the ropes into glass shards. She's greater to the chest. I was like, God dang! I mean, EC3's chest lands. They probably have to put like bags and bags and bags of ice on his chest after that thing was over.
Yeah, I mean he's used to silver spoon in his mouth, but how's he feel about a steel grater on his chest?
Yeah, but the downfall of Bully Ray in this match turned out to be his preoccupation with, and his fixation with putting Dixie Carter through a table. She accidentally gets knocked out from it, and next thing you know, Bully Ray wants to put her through a table, doesn't see EC3 coming. EC3 hits him with a kendo stick, and Rockstar Spud, who Lance said Dixie probably has a good 50, 60 pounds, it's probably all in her head, on Rockstar Spud.
And that's not saying she's fat, that's saying that some bitch is that small.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just wanted to clarify that.
You know what's funny? If Mae Young can take a bubble bomb from Bully Ray, why couldn't Dixie just do what's good for business and take that table bump for just one time?
How you say good for business and Dixie Carter in the same sentence?
I know, right?
Here's the long-standing thing. Since for a few years, WWE and TNA has the no contact from guys against girls rule.
Oh.
I think that's maybe the reason why.
Possibly.
Well, he couldn't have just hit him and discarded just like, because technically that is not contact. He happened to fall on her.
Yeah, he did. He did.
You
EC3
know-
did fall on her.
Watch the new segments now. Bully Ray's gonna appear in Dixie's bed with her.
Oh,
They're
And
gonna say,
then-
"Guess what, Dixie? Now I'm in your home and in your bed now with you."
And then Andy is going to want to audition to be
Bully
Bullock's
Ray.
stunt double. His stunt
Oh.
double.
Oh God. Anyway, following that, as we get away from that nightmarish talk right there, is Mr. Anderson and James Storm. Storm ragged on the Dallas Cowboys, who were in attendance right there, to get the cheap heat that he needed, and he did so very well. But what I don't really approve of is the outside activity where they actually had to physically involve the Cowboys in the match. I mean, we've gone through some NFL turned players turned wrestlers before. Steve McMichael sucked. Goldberg was moderate at best, and every time I saw Kevin Green in WCW, it made me want to puke.
Don't
Jones.
forget
So,
LT.
really, let's not forget. Yeah, that's right. LT.
And then
Well-
Pac-Man Jones in TNA. I mean,
Yeah.
what was the best thing he did? He threw a football in someone's crotch.
Hey, he was a tag team champion.
Yeah, for throwing a football in someone's crotch.
Hey,
I would have rather see Pac-Man being chased by ghosts than Pac-Man Jones holding a tag title.
waka 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 waka.
That sounds like the end of a bad joke, if you guys know what I'm saying. But Mr. Anderson puts the mic check on James Storm and gets the victory. And now we lead up to the steel cage match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Eric Young taking on Austin Aries and Bobby Lashley. Lashley was pretty much dominant for the onset of the match, and I've never seen a suplex into a steel cage before. I got to give him credit for that. But then spearing himself out of the cage and unable to get back in, my initial thought was, I even sent this to Rick, the hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio. I was like, okay, cage is compromised. I see interference coming, but that didn't happen because he couldn't get back into the ring. And it followed with Eric Young. That dive he did off the top rope. I mean, geez, Lance, he was in the air for, I want to say, 5 to 10 seconds before he came down with that elbow drop.
Yeah, he was just bringing out an old gimmick of his, Super Eric.
And you want to talk about someone who had some hang time, man. Eric Young really had some hang time off that diving elbow.
Yeah.
But
Who knew Eric Young liked to get high?
It was the beard. It offered wind resistance.
But it came down to Eric Young with the pile driver on Austin Aries to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and that's pretty much how they ended Slammiversary last night. So it's time to go into our overall scores and our picks for best and worst match or segment of TNA Slammiversary this year. And TNA Slammiversary, had a strong start. I still have kind of mixed feelings about Team 3D going into the TNA Hall of Fame. I thought the Texas Death Match, for what it was decent. Could it have helped if one of them was bleeding during the match? I think it could have. Didn't need to see the Dallas Cowboys, neither at Slammiversary or in the NFL, if you guys catch my drift in that. And the steel cage match with Lashley, Young, and Aries was, like I said, good for what it was. Even though it wasn't advertised as MVP, because if I think if it was MVP, it would have been a time suck to anyone who was watching it. So, I'm going to give Slammiversary, surprisingly, guys, a 3 out of 5. Best match, I got to go to the X Division ladder match. I mean, they were doing a lot of great stuff, a lot of 6 spots in that match. Like I said, I've never seen a combination powerbomb backstabber before, but the Wolves brought that out. And, the sick powerbomb Eddie Edwards took on the ladder from Manik. Jeez. I mean, his head was literally in between the rungs from that powerbomb. I mean, Lord. And you got to give it to Tigre Uno, too. He took a German suplex onto a ladder propped up into the corner. That pretty much had to hurt as well. I mean, how can you not take a bump on the ladder and it not hurt? It's unbelievable in my opinion. But I'm going to give an honorable mention to the Texas Death Match and the Steel Cage match because they were right up there. But the X Division match was a little bit more entertaining in my opinion. Worst segment, anything to do with Dixie Carter. Anything. Whether she's out there during the Texas Death Match or whether she's cutting some lame-ass promo on YouTube for Slammiversary, anything to do with Dixie Carter is automatically worst segment. So that's pretty much going to be it for me. Let's go to Lance next, get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of TNA Slammiversary. Lance?
Well, all in all, I'll give it a 3. Best match, the X Division match, because damn, that's all I can say about that. Worst match, Lashley versus Joe. That was just horrendous to me. I mean, there's like 5 moves in that whole match.
And people want to complain about John Cena and his 5 moves of doom. When it's 2 wrestlers who can't go beyond a moveset of 5, I think that's a little bit worse.
Well, it was one of them because let's face it, Joe has moves. Lashley,
He's got the Goldberg moveset.
minus the jackhammer.
Oh, minus the jackhammer. Yes, you are right about that one. Well, let's go to our resident believer next, James, and get his overall
Wrong
score.
company.
Oh, well, okay. Well, anyway, let's get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of TNA Slammiversary. James?
Give it a 2.5 out of 5. I'm gonna say this is better than Battleground. Let's say that.
Better than Capital Punishment?
Yeah, better than Capital Punishment. And that's
Watching it was Capital Punishment.
Huh?
Watching it was Capital Punishment.
It was. My best match has to be the TNA X Division ladder match. I'm sorry, X Division ladder match. The reason why I say that is because we all know TNA is known for the X Division. That's why people get into TNA. Is that X Division? That's the best division all around. That's helping TNA to mainly survive. Honorable mention has to go to the Hall of Fame because it's I kind of understand your logics on we having all these people that's from WWE getting inducted to this Hall of Fame, but you have to give them respect that they're giving Team 3D that proper respect that they have. Being the winning championships in ECW, the WCW version of the WWE version of WCW, WWE, the TNA.
Well, if they're playing that card, where are the Steiner brothers then? Where's the Legion of Doom then?
Well, yeah, that's the main thing is that WWE has the Legion of Doom, and really, Legion of Doom was only there for maybe once, and Steiner brothers wasn't even there. I think it was just more
Better them than me.
But it's because Steiner Brothers, as I said, I think they're only there for that little time. It's got more Scott Steiner's been there single. Team 3D, they've been in the TNA for a while. And my worst has to be a tie between Joe Lashley and the Knockouts.
Well, and you're such a believer of the Knockouts too.
Shut up. Wrong, as I say, wrong company.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Joseph Knight with his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of TNA Slammiversary. Mr. Knight?
You know what? Best match, I'm going to agree with everybody here, the X Division ladder match. This is what drew me to TNA, the Cruiserweights. I loved them when they were in WCW and ECW and TNA. This is their bread and butter. This is what makes them separate from the WWE. Get a little bit more indie guys in there to make it much more solid, and they have a winning combination. Those bumps, those movesets, the things that they were doing with those ladders throughout that match, it was the top. It was the only great match of that night. The worst match, I have to definitely point it to the Knockouts. As much as I like Gail Kim doing her movesets and everything, it was just the storyline they have in there just plain sucks. And then the worst segment, anything that has to do with Dixie Carter. I would have loved for Janice Carter to turn around during that buffet, whatever they were doing, and say, Dixie, you're going home. Guess who we brung in? And here comes Shane McMahon or Jeff Jarrett or anybody. Hell, bring
Eric
me in.
Bischoff. Yeah.
You know,
Joseph Knight to run TNA, ladies and gentlemen. How about that?
oh Lord, would they all be in trouble? And you know what? The Hall of Fame thing, I figured it out, guys. I figured it out. Why are they putting in the WWE guys first? Because that way they can say the WWE guys survived a year with TNA. So overall 3, again, best match, of course, the X Division. The worst match, the knockouts, in my opinion, and anything that happens with Dixie Carter.
Wonder if there's any truth to his name, Brian Stifler. But anyway, guys and gals, we want to know now from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on TNA Slammiversary. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of TNA Slammiversary? We definitely want to hear from you guys out there. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. I guess what can fans expect to see when they come visit your channel over on youtube.com/LanceMossTV?
Album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck woman cooking videos, musical gear reviews and stuff like that, and whatever else pops in my head.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the #1 rule of the Hudat Temple to always believe in yourself and Oksana for some reason. It's James from the Big Easy. James, you got anything coming up?
I hope in September Oksana debuts on TNA just to piss you off. Anyway, I'm taking a small break, but at the Who Dat Temple, you will find us on iVlog.tv/user/fatboy504. Talk about games, play game shows, talk about game shows, sports, wrestling, and happy anniversary to this match. That's better than Impact, better than Slammiversary.
Oh God! And finally, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Knight from Classic Wrestling Association. Mr. Knight, you got anything coming up?
Yep, we're actually getting ready to gear up for our summer bash in August, so we're getting everything together. That'll be up on our website and Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at JKnightManager. That's Knight with a K. You can also follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/JosephKnightManager. You'll see everything I'm about to unveil on those sites.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/WGS-TV. And don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network if you haven't already. So for the incomparable Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV, James from the Big Easy, and Mr. Joseph Knight, I'm the WrestleGamer, Double B Polly Bujo, saying, Dixie Carter, you suck at promos!
I think I have a new charity open. It's Ducks for Billy.
Oh, all the hogs are there with some orange sauce. Ugh.
Here's something for you, Billy.
Ducky, quack, quack.
Here's something for you, Billy. Exana in the 90 or Dixie Carter in the 90.
Breaking news before we leave. Matt Hardy is scheduled to return to TNA to reunite with Jeff Hardy at the upcoming TNA New York City tapings.